to figure out, okay, how do I get my production out there? How do I do it in the leasing business? And I tell you, the biggest thing for me was that when I pursued placements, I felt like an employee. When I started establishing my business within the leasing business, I felt like an actual entrepreneur. Now, they look down at us in the industry because they look and say, oh, look at you selling your beats for $19 or $39. Like, that's your leasing beats. That's so cheap. But that kind of mentality, I feel like, only exists within the hip hop genre, because nobody goes and says, oh, why would you open up a Walmart and selling everything? But why would you open up a 99-cent store and you're selling all? Nobody says that. That person is their business, and that's what they do, and it's a multi-million-dollar business because of the way that they scale it. Same thing applies to us, you know, when we're releasing beats. But the thing is, people don't see that mentality, and what happens is a lot of producers kind of get stuck in a gray area, and they never fully commit to either side, and then they just say, to hell with it, the industry's not making any money, and that's just not the truth.
I want to ask if you ever had let's call it a damn that hurt moment, because that's my tagline. I guess what I mean is a low point or a bad decision you made within your career that you learned from. I mean, I had one. I'll share it with you because you're from the West Coast. Many years ago, probably either right before or right after my first major placement.
Okay.
And there was an artist who was originally from a group, and they had a hot single, but the group kind of fell apart. And so he was pursuing a solo career. Or I contacted him, actually, sent him some tracks. He goes, yeah, send me 15 beats. I'll have 15 songs to you by tomorrow. I was like, whoa, I don't know about that. I was on my whole, you know, I wasn't ready for that kind of process. I didn't understand that kind of process. I just kind of let the email sit. The rapper was Lil B.
Wow.
So that was a damn that hurt moment, because if I had just kind of done my research and seen the trend and you know, exactly the kind of charisma he had and his overall career trajectory, I would have said, yeah, let's do it. I trust in your process, even though it's completely uncomfortable for me.
And I have a story for that too. But initially, when you said that, I'm like, who's making 15 songs in the day? And I said, okay, a little bit. Yeah. Yep. Okay. That completely makes sense. Now that completely makes sense. But so I was pursuing placements. I remember one time I saw an A&R from a very known West Coast artist was like, yo, send some beats in, producers, here's the email. I sent some beats in, went to church, came home. They were like, yo, they want to place one of your beats. This artist and Mac 10 are going to be on a song together. Boom. This is you know, and I was like, wow, I'm about to get paid for my placement. I was excited. And in the process, I was actually working on the album as a artist, and I was trying to put that album out, but I needed a PR. I hired a PR, and she was willing to work for free until I got my placement check. I'm expecting my placement check to at least be a G or something, right? Fast forward, I finally get my placement check about 6 months later. I go in there, I'm walking, I meet the artist, I'm shaking hands. I'm like, yo, man, this is crazy. You know, financially things were kind of getting really bad at that point, because this is right before we got evicted and I lost my car. But got the check, didn't even look at it. Shook his hand, took the check, went straight to the check and the cash because I'd ruined my relationship with the bank, and took it out the envelope. And it was literally for the amount of $500, which is still good for that first placement. But I literally owed my manager or my PR $480. And I needed that money in order for us to not get evicted. And so I'm looking at it and I'm like, I can't even tell her not, because she has her own obligations. She had just a baby coming on the way, so I couldn't even do that. And on top of that, the check was spelled in my artist name, my producer name, and not my actual government name. So I'm sitting there at the check and the cash, and they're like, we can't do it because you don't have any proof that you're Curtis King. Had to wait for another check for another 2 weeks, right? Check comes in, went to try to cash it. There was more issues with the check. A month passed, 2 months passed, we had to pack up, we're getting evicted. Finally, the check comes after we had to leave. It was already too late. I look on the address, and the address was literally 10 minutes away from my house, and nobody had ever mentioned it. And so I could literally walk up to the office, got that thing cleared away, and we would have, you know, it'd have been a whole other situation. But I say that with a smile now, only because I know that life doesn't happen to you. Life happens for you. I have to believe that. And I have to believe that had I fixed that situation on time, had we got our place, this life that I'm living now would not have been possible. You know, the E40 and MERS opportunity wouldn't have happened. Even his videos wouldn't have happened. Had I still had a safe and comfortable life, which I had when I was living with moms, it would have been a completely different outcome. And I'm thankful now for it happening, but it just hurts as you packing up all your stuff because you're being evicted, and literally look at the check and just something said, let me check where the office is at. 10 minutes away from my house. And I feel like that was one of them situations that stuff happened. I got a million of those stories. And like I said, it's going to be in that book, Prosperous Hip Hop Producer. There's going to be a lot of those stories in that book. But man, I certainly appreciate you letting me share that off the wall stories, but went a bunch of different directions, but that's the story.
Yeah, okay, so for the people who want to order the book or pre-order the book, how do they stay in touch with you?
Curtis King, at Curtis King with 2 S's. At Curtis King on Twitter, Facebook, CurtisKing.com or CurtisKingBeats.com. I'm surely going to blast all that information out as soon as this book is ready. I'm looking forward to that. But other than that, I would definitely subscribe to the Curtis King TV channel on YouTube, and I try to keep everything pretty up to date. But that's about it. Curtis
King, appreciate you sitting down, taking some time to talk with us.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on.
And much success to you, especially with that book. You know, that's something that's pretty unprecedented. So all the success in the world to you. Thank you again.
I appreciate that.